Good morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, June 16th on the weather map. Looking at the impacts. Wind starting to pick up across the western Great Basin today. Keep in mind this dashed line for critically dry fuels. It is south of there that critical weather could combine with fuels to create large fire potential. We see those winds pushing into much more of western and central Utah on Friday, along with a good portion of eastern Nevada, and those winds could be gusting up to 45, maybe even 50 miles per hour. The other thing on the map, the first shot of quasi-monsoonal moisture will bring isolated thunderstorms to eastern parts of Utah. Um, the first day is the most troublesome. We could see a mix of dry and wet and dry strikes, depending on where they occur. Uh, we do have high risk for that. And then we continue with the monsoonal moisture deepening a bit, storms trending a bit more wetter, but still dealing with the dry winds across western Utah, just outside that monsoonal shield, into parts of eastern Nevada, along with a big increase in temperature, especially across the eastern half of the Great Basin today. Temperatures should be about 10 degrees above normal with low humidity. So a lot to talk about. We'll get into it now. No significant precip or lightning past 24 hours. New fire starts in the red, recent fires in the yellow, activity picking up, but still on the small side until we get some more wind. Over the past 14 days, bone dry, basically south of the I-80 or Highway 50 corridor, but it gets much more moist with a couple of rainstorms, along with some snow. Areas further north, you can see up in parts of northwestern Wyoming where the yellow shows 1.5 to pockets of close to 3 inches of rainfall. That was a big cause for the flooding they've had there. You can see here, though, our main concern will be in the areas in the red that had 0 to 10% of the normal precipitation over the past 2 weeks. That's reflected in some of the drought and fuel parameters. This is the EDDI, or the flash drought index, and you can see that no issues up north, but it is in our southern third of the area there. We are either in category 2 or category 3 of the flash drought. This is for an 8-week period, ending in June 9th. You can see our 100-hour fuels, the dryness, the low single digits in this red area. They were further northwards. They did retreat a little bit with the recent cool, showery weather we had across some of the higher terrain, but they'll be on the march northward again today with the warmer weather. The 1,000-hour fuels, and this will be a concern with any lightning that we get coming up. Again, anything that's 5% or low, those are late summer peak values. And even these gold areas here can support ignitions and spread of large fire, providing live fuel moisture is down. So we'll see how that plays out. Our infrared satellite imagery shows high pressure building back in, clear skies across the region. Here's our unseasonably deep low pressure area off the Pacific Northwest coast. You can see the enhanced clouds through there. We can also look at this through the water vapor imagery, and this shows, again, the clouds and moisture through here, but it shows that very dry air now pushing into southern Nevada and into parts of the Arizona Strip and southwest Utah. That is going to be a big issue with low humidities next couple of days in those areas. At the same time, down south, you see that monsoonal moisture gathering, waiting for southerly winds to transport it further north. So here we go today. And there's that dry air mass that we show in the water vapor. It parallels this image very well. The clouds and showers across the Pacific Northwest and the start of the transport of the monsoonal moisture from the south, getting into parts of southern Arizona. That's where they have high risk there today. You can see for us, the big concern will be the winds picking up in that dry air mass. And you can see those winds through here, quite a large area from the orange to the purples, 30 to 40 miles per hour, even 45, 50 in the Sierra front. But remember that critical fuel line. It's basically this line on southwards where we have those big concerns. You can see the humidity is bone dry across the southern part of the area, single digits all throughout. Tomorrow, the big day, a large area of high risk for wind here, and also some lightning coming up in parts of the higher terrain of south central Utah and into southeast Utah. And you can see the monsoonal moisture through here on the left. Big plume coming up here right along the Colorado Utah border. Most of it in Colorado, but just enough. You see a little pin drop through here. just enough mid to upper level moisture where we could get isolated storms without a lot of rain initially. But then you don't have to go too far westwards to see that dry air. So we can see on the left the winds, and they are strong. When we start seeing these purples and browns, those are gusts 45, maybe 50 plus miles per hour. And again, a big concern with those low humidities we see here. They come up a little bit, but just up to about 10%, still single digits in Nevada, coming up into the low teens with that monsoonal moisture, but that's still dry for eastern Utah. Now, if we look at the precipitation where we could see thunderstorm activity, you can see our concerns through here and also a little blip here and here, just a couple hundredths of an inch you could see here. So it's not a wetting rain. And you can see that that lightning actually overlaps with some of these strong winds. So there's the possibility we could get some isolated strikes that could ignite and get pushed by the wind. We'll see how this plays out. It's kind of a rarity. Usually you get one or the other, not both at the same time. The good news, by Saturday, that monsoonal moisture deepens, the humidity deepens. We still have high risk for wind, but notice the yellows on the 7-day. That means that a lot of the fuels will be moistened up by continued high humidity for over 24 hours. Rain's getting a little bit wetter. You can see the humidity across central and eastern Utah coming up above 15%, some areas 20 to 25%. You can still see those winds present, though. Again, gusts of 45, 50 miles per hour in these areas in the brown and purple. And with the precipitation, here's the good news. These areas in the blue, these are over a half inch to approaching an inch of rainfall. And even these greens through here, this is a wetting rain. That's a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch. Still, though, on the western periphery, the strikes could be mainly dry and they could be overlapping some of these strong winds, but we don't expect to see a lot of lightning strikes, maybe just 1, 2, or 3, but still a concern. We'll have to see how this all develops. On a larger scale, here's the 3-day precipitation we expect when we put it all together. Very wet across our far southeastern portion of the Great Basin, but it gets drier quite quickly as you head further westwards. Look on Sunday. We have a trough of low pressure on the left here developing and gathering moisture, so it stays cool and moist up in the north. Dry, breezy conditions continue in the south. You can see our 7-day, the modification from the monsoonal moisture, but then we start drying out. You see more browns on the map across southern Utah and the Arizona Strip. On Monday, you also see more moisture pushing up into parts of eastern Idaho, western Wyoming, and they don't need more rain, but it looks like they could get some. And then we kind of dry out, winds die down, high pressure builds back in for Tuesday and Wednesday. By Wednesday, we warm back up significantly again. Our 7-day total precipitation through here, and not super heavy, but could see another tenth to a quarter inch of rain up in parts of Wyoming. Not good news for them, but good news for the fires down in New Mexico and parts of eastern Arizona. Our 8 to 14-day shows warmer than normal temperatures here on the left for most areas, but again, the monsoonal presence stays for much of southern and eastern Utah, maybe even getting into parts of Nevada. We'll have to watch the outer periphery of this for drier lightning strikes. This concludes our briefing. Have a great day.